Alright, so here's another follow-up. The build is quote-unquote complete for right now. It has the original processor, which is a P4 hyper-thread at 3 gigs, and two 512 sticks of Corsair 5400 DDR2. So I think those run by like 667 megahertz or something like that. I don't really remember right now. But the motherboard itself doesn't support any higher than the 5400s. And as a matter of fact, even when these are in during the BIOS load up, it actually reads off as a 5300. And maybe that's because that's as high as the motherboard goes as far as RAM. But these are what came with it. It's same as the processor. I changed the CPU cooler though because stock Intel coolers suck. And we got the 550 Ti in here again. Mainly for two reasons. One, I actually wanted this in here to start out with, which I ended up having to switch. At first I thought the issue might have been with the card or something else within that secure boot or whatever. There may have been some sort of situations with Windows 10 and why I wasn't able to get the install going. So I'd switched back to the old original graphics card that was on here, which is an NVIDIA 256 megabyte, but I know nothing about it. Can't find drivers for it. Windows 10 can't find drivers for it. So we're back to this card, which is fine because it's what I really wanted in it anyhow. In a sense, it kind of makes this blue light up cooler useless now, because initially when I had this in here, it was because the graphics card had a passive cooler on it, so I thought adding some air would be nice. But now, it's got its own fan. And, again, it makes it kind of useless, but it is what it is. I'm not going to take it out now. It's all wired in there. You can see the cable goes down and in, and I'm not going to go through all that to take it out. This is not the same SSD that was on here. This is now a PNY SSD as opposed to the one that was in here to begin with. And the only reason why is because the other SSD, I actually had a match to it. I had two of the very same exact SSDs, and that might get used in a different build. Perhaps run them in RAID or something. I don't know. Oh, that's a reflection. Okay, I saw yeah, that's a reflection. Okay, I was like, what is going on over there? I thought there was some sort of a mark or something on the paint. And I was like, oh, how did that happen? But no, it's actually like some sort of a reflection, because you get close enough and it just disappears. And that's just so weird. I don't know what the heck that even is. Like, what the heck? I don't know how that's happening or why. Oh, it might be oh, I know what's going on here. Never mind. Got it. It's reflecting off of the fan blade. It's like, what the hell is that? Okay, back to what I was saying. So my plan is to, because I realized after sticking, I put 8 gigs in, all two gig stick DIMMs across the board, and it did in the BIOS show 8 gigs, but it also mentioned how out of that 8 gigs a certain amount was appropriated and only usable was 3.2 gigs or 3.1, I think is what it said. So then, and it also, when I had the 8 gigs in there, trying to boot into a Windows installed on the flash drive, it couldn't do it. It would boot loop. So I took those 2 sticks out. I took those 4 sticks out, put in 2 sticks of 2 gigs each for 4 gigs, and of course the BIOS could see it as 4 gigs, but stated that there was only 3.2 gigs available of use. So clearly this motherboard maxes out at 3 gigs. And also, when you have more than 3 gigs in there, you can't boot into an install disk, or rather flash drive. And that being said, I have the original RAM in here, which only equals a gig right now. But I got the install on the CD. There is, not CD. I got the install on the SSD, and I didn't end up using that disk. The CD-ROM, the DVD-ROM, I didn't end up using that after all. And I did realize, by the way, part of the problem was also that during boot up, I was originally getting the big screen, the splash screen, which only showed hit tab for post messages or delete to get into the BIOS. It didn't tell you exactly what was the boot menu button until I turned off the splash screen and was able to see all of the post messages. And then one of those post messages said to press F8 for a BBS screen, which turned out to be the boot menu. And then I was able to manually boot into the flash drive, but it was not booting into the flash drive all by itself automatically. I also in the BIOS had to enable 2.0 USB, because for whatever reason it was by default disabled. I don't know why. Because when I very first started using this board, I did tell the board to just use, defaults, all defaults, which was like F7 or something. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. So I set the board to defaults, and the USB 2.0 was disabled, which I only found out by digging into the BIOS. So first thing is I turned on 2.0 BIOS, 2.0 USB in the BIOS, and then I realized how to manually boot to the flash drive, and then I was able to get the install going. But trying to do it off of a DVD-ROM with a DVD player was not working. I have no idea what that orange screen was all about. But yeah, here it is, essentially finished. But I am going to be putting in 3 gigs of RAM across the board by using these two 512s and two 1 gig sticks that are all going to match. I got the two 1 gig sticks super cheap, so it wasn't the problem of just picking them up. And I do have intent on putting in an E6700 in here, which is, according to the manual and the website, as of version 2.1G and BIOS number that this one has a higher one of, absolutely supports that processor, so I should have no problem being able to slap that one in and getting a better performance, as opposed to trying to run the Windows 10 on a P4 hyperthread, because it works, you can do it, but it's terrible. So the next video I do will be the updated video of the upgrades, and maybe I'll be able to get some games on here and actually, put the thing to work and see how it goes. I may even attempt some really old games on this as it is right now. Games that were Pentium 4, 3 gig, the era around that same time, and just to see what happens. But I don't think that with the operating system and this horsepower of the graphics card, I imagine that this is going to be, that this is going to bottleneck this, because this might ask for more than this is able to put out. Which is one of the main reasons why I wanted to upgrade to a better CPU, because I know that a 1.8 gig Core 2 Duo will run Windows 10 far better than this does right now. But yeah, all the drives are connected. That's the boot drive, and these are two 250 gig drives. I think they're both 7200 RPMs, and there's the 60 gig PATA drive, and on the motherboard there's really only one more slot to put another drive, so I suppose one more could go here if ever necessary, but I mean it has plenty of storage space, so really that won't be necessary. It's just kind of weird to see all this open space here with nothing in it at all. I suppose a RGB controller could go there, or like a fan controller, I suppose, could go there, but you know, it is what it is. It's fine. It's an older build. You know, if you haven't been following along, the entire purpose of this was to do an old build into a new case and do like a flipped sleeper build. And that's pretty much what this is. Alright, until the next video.